employment. Joining us now to talk about that, Congressman Ted Lieu, Democrat from Torrance. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, $1 trillion. Do you agree with that? Is that something you're willing to vote for?
Congress has passed on a bipartisan basis 4 bills in near record time to address this pandemic. I view those bills as necessary, but not sufficient to address the scale of this crisis. The president last week said that the virus was just going to leave. There's no evidence that this virus is just going to leave. It's going to stay with us until there's a vaccine or a drug therapy. That means we have to get money out to the states, local governments, and school districts. We want to make sure that our heroes, our paramedics, firefighters, police officers, and teachers are not laid off. So I support Gavin Newsom's $1 trillion request.
You do? Okay.
Wait, hang on a second. I'm a little confused by that. So you're equating remaining closed for the virus with the request. Is that the provision here? With if we have to remain shut down, then that request is appropriate? What if we're able to open up in the meantime and essentially return to normal as we hit the summer season?
Many states are starting to slowly reopen. I think we have to get to testing at scale in order to reopen fully safely. But our economy is going to be slow until there is a cure for this virus. A lot of people are not going to engage in normal activities because they want to protect themselves and their loved ones. And this is not just a U.S. slowdown, it's a worldwide slowdown. That's why we're going to have to provide additional stimulus to governments across our country at the state and local level, as well as businesses and families.
You know, the last time we went through this, there was widespread bipartisan support in a way we really haven't seen in years. Doesn't seem like we're quite there on this one. I talked recently with the Republican leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy. He said, look, we passed so much stuff, so much money out there. We're not ready to do more money. Let's see how this last one works. Do you think there's a realistic chance that $1 trillion is going to pass? Are the Republicans going to go for that?
I do. We have 33 million Americans who filed for unemployment claims. That's an astonishing number. We know that the payroll report hit the lowest level since the report came out. And what we know is that our economy simply is not going to go back to normal until there's a therapy or a vaccine. So government is one of the few institutions that can provide sustenance to millions of Americans and businesses across our nation. And we have to do a second round of stimulus.
Before this crisis, there was a lot of talk about infrastructure. What about hitting both at once and getting some sort of some sort of Roosevelt-style works project that goes after the infrastructure rather than just handing money to the state?
That's a great point. So we were working on infrastructure, and what happened is we realized that we're nowhere near the recovery stage right now. We're still in mitigation. We have to make sure that all these Americans who file for unemployment, who no longer have jobs, are able to have sustenance. So we need a second round of stimulus, and then we're going to move to infrastructure. One of the things we need is broadband everywhere, including in rural areas and urban areas where there's no broadband, because we see the necessity of this for children, for distance learning, for a variety of reasons. And we want to make sure that broadband also gets delivered across America.
And just lastly, there are some folks on the right that say, why are we going to reward a state like California that had problems with unfunded liabilities going into this, or had some other issues with giving money to illegal immigrants before this? We're rewarding these states by bailing them out for making bad decisions. What do you say to that?
Well, California is not a good example for them to use because California actually had a $20 billion surplus before this pandemic. A lot of red states actually were in far worse situations. Every state has been affected by this pandemic, and we defeat this virus by working together, by being unified. And I look forward to getting bipartisan support because at the end of the day, we're all Americans and we're going to prevail.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Congressman Ted Lieu, thanks so much. Great to see you. We appreciate you coming on.